couple things. One, right off the bat, a lot of the channels that I see, they're always telling you, oh, you don't need a lot of stuff to do this hobby. And that's kind of not true. I started out thinking, okay, I could do this with some foam, some tape, some glue, and a toothpick. And that's farthest from the truth. The necessities are obviously paint, your tacky glue, Mod Podge, a glue gun, a good glue gun, razor blades, preferably something that can be extended and that's very sharp because they go dull very quickly as you cut the foam. I use the XPS poly extruded foam, the Owens Corning pink stuff that you get Home Depot or one of those big box stores. You have a nice little squirt bottle for water if you need it. I bought some extra little containers. If you look up here in the top left corner, you'll see I've made some washes with black and brown. So basically I just took some water, put it in one of these little containers and put a little paint in there and made a nice little wash. And I'll show you. You definitely need some right angles. You need some squares and, rulers, straight edges, stuff to make cuts with. I highly recommend the cutting mat. This is an invaluable tool, especially see these, these angles here. It becomes really important when you're trying to do like 45-degree cuts. So basically this is what you need. I would definitely, don't think that you're going to do something like this, for $5 at a dollar store. That's not going to happen. Be realistic about it. Expect to pay a couple $100 in just stuff that you're going to acquire. Also, you're going to need Pop-Tarts, not included, but you're going to need one of these babies. It's a Proxxon machine. It makes, quick work of foam when you need to make small cuts, large cuts, angled cuts, circle cuts. This thing will do it for you. This is an absolute essential. I would not even do this project without it. So one of my first tasks here was to make some bricks because I knew I wanted to build some sort of a chapel, or actually my first idea was to build this massive cathedral. Go big or go home. And I knew that it was going to be a very laborious task to make these bricks, and that's why I immediately bought the Proxxon, because I knew I was going to be making a lot of these bricks. So here you can see I'm building out some bricks using the Proxxon, and I'm just making some basic cuts. The couple things you need to remember when building bricks, you have 3 dimensions, X, Y, and Z. When building bricks, it's very easy when you're cutting them with the Proxxon to forget about the 3rd dimension, and that's important because the foam itself is usually almost the exact size as that 3rd dimension, so it's very easy to forget or to miss, cutting that 3rd dimension, and you might not realize it until you're 100 or 200 bricks in. So be mindful of that and make sure that you do your measurements and measure twice and cut once. Get it done right the first time. I apologize for the camera shaking here. I don't have a tripod for my iPhone yet. I actually have a Sherman-Williams paint store around the corner from me, and I bought one of these buckets. And I think they're like 2¼ quart buckets or something like that. And I went in the yard, I found some little field stones and cleaned them off, as much as I could, put them in the bucket, put my little bricks in the bucket, and did some shaking and baking, and that's how you get this look. Building the walls is a pretty straightforward process. It really just involves taking the bricks and laying them down on top of each other in courses. But there are a couple things that you should remember. try to have a flat surface underneath those bricks, whether it's a piece of cardboard, the table. Don't do it on your mother's favorite table, or else you'll die a quick, painful death. But make sure that you have something stable that doesn't rock around and that's flat. That will help out a lot. And the other thing that you really should pay attention to is, what are you using to put the bricks together? There are really two methods to go here or to use, and that is either hot glue or tacky glue. I suggest for the first couple rows, use the hot glue. Get those courses down quickly, efficiently, and glued together so you can get the project moving. But after that, you might want to go with the tacky glue for the rest of the courses, because I can't tell you how many times I accidentally bumped it, or I changed my mind, or I wanted to make it a little wider or taller. There wasn't enough bricks on one row. And having the ability to shift that around was invaluable. Because if I would have used hot glue, that's it. You have 3 to 5 seconds, maybe 7 seconds maximum to make a change. And once that solidifies, you're done. That brick is there. So I suggest going with the tacky glue at first until you're really sure on what you want. So the next part of the project is just building out the walls, making sure they're square and plumb. It's not that difficult. It's pretty straightforward. I wanted to put a nice heavy, steel door at the bottom, and so I cut out a little bit of the foam to make room for that door. You just got to be careful as you're doing that and making sure that you measure twice and cut once, because once you make that cut, that's it. It's good because foam is pretty flexible, but with stuff like doors and windows and stuff like that, you really want to make sure that you measure twice and cut once, because that can become problematic if you make a couple big mistakes, and you might have to rebuild a wall, and that would suck. So this next image is showing some progress with the door and the surrounding brick of the door. I just kind of made small slivers and little details to put in the door. That was a lot of fun. It was a little tricky at first because I wasn't really used to using small foam pieces like that, and the glue got all over the place and it was a mess. But I got used to it really quickly, and it turned out pretty cool. I was enjoying the process. It was a lot of fun, and you can see at the top there I started to measure out the window for this little chapel that I decided to build. And so in this next series of images, I'm basically building out the side wall and the cornerstones. That took a lot of time because each cornerstone, if you look to the bottom left there, you can see each individual brick. So that was tedious, but well worth it. As you can see in this close-up, the texture that you get from building individual bricks, it's really cool and it looks good. And there it is on both sides. And I still haven't cut out that window because I was pretty much chicken to do it at this point. I didn't want to, make a mistake and make a hole where I didn't want it. There's another angle, and you can see like that depth that you get from the individual bricks, and it's coming along nicely at this point. And I was, I was getting motivated to keep going. There's another shot of the side, and you can see how long I made those side bricks. And at this point, I'm trying to decide, how long my side walls are going to be. Now, this is a shot of some more work on the front door. I was putting in kind of like a, just some more woodwork and stuff, cement work on the front. Now, in this shot, I took this shot because I got tired of building individual bricks, and I kind of changed the direction at this point. So I decided that I was just going to draw out the bricks with a sharp ink pen, and I was going to make the texture afterward. So this shot just shows the difference on how it looks between the individual bricks and drawing out the bricks. And it, to be honest with you, after you paint it, it really, it's really hard to tell the difference unless you're really close up. And you'll see that later. Now I'm trying to make these, I guess, cement pillars that are on the sides of the walls. And these little details that are in there. Actually, they're not little details. They're pretty much a solid part of the wall. So I'm carving out like these chamfers and these these big solid cement posts that kind of separate the walls. And here you'll see a shot of the corners. I'm just taking fine grit sandpaper and I'm smoothing out the corners to give it that finished look. There are the pillars. They're kind of look like little chimneys now that I think about it. But at this point, I'm not worried about fine details. I'm just kind of going with my imagination and running with it. Here's another shot of the walls, and in this shot, it's a good shot because you can see how the individual bricks differ from the drawn out bricks, and there's a big difference between the two. They're actually the exact same size. It's just that because the ones that are drawn out with the pen, they just look as if they're bigger because they don't, they're not cut. So the heat from the Proxon doesn't burn them. So they look a little bit larger. But again, unless you're really looking for it, you'll never see it. This is just a couple images of the build process of the walls and these, I guess, I don't know what you call these things. I don't even know what to call them. But, these little details. Here I'm drawing out the windows, and I'm getting really excited at this point because I'm actually just able to see what what this wall is going to look like. And there's one of the windows cut out, and that was a lot of motivation and satisfaction at this point. Here's another shot of both the walls and with the windows cut out. Again, this is, at this point I'm having loads of fun, and I couldn't wait to continue. This is a shot of one of the Hotwire Foam Factory tools I bought. This is a really good tool, but guys, do me a favor, be careful with it. If you look at that tip, this thing is hot. This is me making some window details and putting in the stonework. Again, tedious but very satisfying when you're done. There's a little video of the the walls put together. I don't think I glued it at this point. I think it's just freestanding at this point, and you can see the mess that I've made. But progress, definitely progress. Okay, so I'm going to cut off this video and I'll make a part 2 and upload it. I don't want this video to go too long, but as you can tell, progress is being made at this point, and it's very satisfying, and I'm just having a good time doing it. So I'll put up part 2 very shortly.